It all started on a chilly September morning when Emily Carter walked into Westwood High School for the first time. A shy, intelligent girl with dreams bigger than the sky, Emily had just moved to Seattle with her parents after her father got a new job. She wasn't the type to seek attention. She preferred books over parties, ideas over gossip, and ambition over drama. But high school was its own universe. And in that universe, the law wasn't set by teachers. It was ruled by the Queen Bees, the untouchable group of popular girls led by Madison Blake. Tall, blonde, and ruthless, Madison had been running the social scene since middle school, with her two loyal followers, Chloe and Jessica, ensuring that no one dared challenge her throne. From the very first day, Emily was an easy target. She dressed differently, spoke softly, and worst of all, she was brilliant. Straight A's, insightful questions in class, and a natural knack for science made her a favorite among teachers but a joke in the eyes of Madison's gang. "Hey, nerd!" Madison smirked as she walked past Emily in the hallway, knocking her books out of her hands. The laughter that followed echoed through the corridors. Emily bent down, trying to gather her books as the crowd moved past her, stepping on her papers like they were nothing. This is how high school is going to be, she thought. That day, she learned a painful lesson. High school doesn't reward intelligence. It rewards survival. Emily wiped her eyes as she picked up her books. She wanted to disappear, to vanish into thin air. But something deep inside her whispered, "Not today. Not ever." The bullying continued. Every day, Madison and her gang found new ways to humiliate her. Mocking her clothes, sabotaging her projects, spreading rumors. When she entered the cafeteria, they would giggle and whisper, "Here comes the future crazy cat lady." But Emily wasn't weak. She refused to break. Instead of wasting her energy on revenge, she focused. She poured herself into her studies, spending long hours in the library, devouring everything she could find about technology, business, and innovation. One day, in computer class, Emily discovered something that would change her life forever: coding. It felt like magic, the way a few lines of code could bring something to life on a screen. She started small, building websites, experimenting with AI, and writing algorithms. While Madison and her group were busy planning their next party, Emily was building her future. One afternoon, while sitting alone in the library, she read about Silicon Valley's youngest CEOs and thought, "Why not me?" That night, she stayed up late, writing her first business plan. She didn't have many friends, but she had one, Liam, the quiet, smart kid from math class. Unlike others, he saw Emily's potential. "You're not just smart, Emily," he said one day. "You're a genius." For the first time, Emily believed it too. She had a fire inside her, and it was just getting started. Emily's high school years were a battlefield, but instead of fighting back with words or revenge, she chose a different weapon: success. With Liam's help, she started developing an AI-based study app that could personalize learning for students, adapting to their strengths and weaknesses. The app, called Brain Boost, was designed to help struggling students understand complex subjects in a fun, interactive way. At first, it was just a passion project, something she worked on late at night when the rest of the world slept. But soon, she realized its potential. One day, while working on the app in the library, her teacher, Mr. Anderson, peeked over her shoulder. "This is impressive, Emily," he said, scrolling through the interface. "Have you thought about entering this into a competition?" That was the first time she even considered it. With encouragement from Liam and Mr. Anderson, she submitted Brain Boost to a national student startup competition. Weeks passed, and she nearly forgot about it, until one afternoon when she received an email that made her heart stop. "Congratulations! You have been selected as a finalist in the Young Innovators Challenge." She stared at the screen, her hands trembling. This was real. But not everyone was happy about her success. When Madison found out, she smirked. "Wow, Nerd's got a startup now? What's next? A spaceship?" Chloe and Jessica laughed. Emily ignored them. She had bigger things to focus on. Because for the first time in her life, she wasn't just dreaming of success. She was living it. The Young Innovators Challenge was Emily's first taste of the real world, the world beyond high school, where intelligence and ambition mattered more than popularity. When she arrived at the competition, she felt out of place. Other finalists were from elite schools, dressed in sharp blazers, their confidence shining. But as she walked in, Liam patted her shoulder. "You belong here, Emily." And he was right. When it was her turn to present Brain Boost, her hands trembled. But as soon as she started speaking, something clicked. She spoke passionately about the power of AI in education, how her app could transform learning, and how struggling students could get personalized help. The judges were intrigued. They asked tough questions, and Emily answered with confidence. After an agonizing wait, the results were announced. Emily Carter had won second place. She didn't win first, but it didn't matter because something even bigger happened. After the event, a venture capitalist, Mr. Davis, approached her. "I see potential in your app, Emily. If you're serious, I'd like to discuss funding opportunities." Her heart pounded. This was beyond anything she had imagined. Meanwhile, back at school, Madison and her gang were oblivious to Emily's rising success. They still saw her as the nerdy girl they could mock. But Emily didn't care anymore, because she was playing a game much bigger than high school drama. She had just taken her first step into the world of business and innovation, and there was no looking back. Winning second place in the Young Innovators Challenge was just the beginning. After the event, Emily sat down with Mr. Davis, the venture capitalist who had approached her. "You've built something incredible," he told her. "With the right team and funding, this could become a real business." Emily was stunned. Just months ago, she was a bullied high school student. Now, a successful investor was offering to help her turn Brain Boost into a company. But there was a problem. She had no business experience. That's where Liam came in. While Emily handled the technical side, Liam started learning about business strategies, marketing, and networking. Together, they spent months refining Brain Boost, improving its AI algorithms, and making the platform more user-friendly. With Mr. Davis's investment, they officially launched Brain Boost as a startup. Emily juggled school and business, often working late into the night. While Madison and her friends partied, Emily was in her tiny bedroom, coding, strategizing, and attending virtual meetings. The bullying didn't stop. One day, as she walked past Madison's table in the cafeteria, she overheard, "Oh look, it's CO Barbie. How's your imaginary company going?" The table burst into laughter. Emily just smiled, because what Madison didn't know was that Brain Boost had just crossed its first 10,000 users. Success was coming fast, and soon the people who mocked her would be the ones watching her rise. Emily's life had completely changed. Brain Boost was growing faster than she had ever imagined. Schools started reaching out, wanting to integrate her AI-based learning platform into their curriculum. Investors showed interest. Tech blogs started talking about the teenage coding genius behind the revolutionary study app. But high school, it was still the same. Madison and her group still laughed at her. They still called her names. But now the difference was Emily didn't care. One afternoon, during a business pitch event, something happened that shifted everything. A prestigious tech accelerator program had invited young entrepreneurs to pitch their startups for funding and mentorship. Emily was one of them. She stood on stage in front of a panel of successful business leaders, presenting Brain Boost with the confidence of someone twice her age. She spoke about how the app was helping students across the country, how it was making learning easier and more personalized, and how her vision was to revolutionize education with AI. When she finished, there was a brief silence, then a standing ovation. One of the judges, a well-known Silicon Valley investor, smiled at her. "You have something special, Emily. I'd like to personally invest in Brain Boost." Her hands shook as she processed what was happening. She had just secured a $500,000 investment. She had officially made it into the tech world. That night, she sat in her room, staring at her laptop. The girl who was once bullied, laughed at, and called a nerd was now on her way to building a multi-million-dollar company. And soon, Madison and her gang would see just how much things had changed. As Brain Boost expanded, Emily's life became a whirlwind of meetings, interviews, and business trips. At just 18, she was running a fast-growing company while finishing high school. Meanwhile, Madison, Chloe, and Jessica were starting to feel the pressure of real life. Their popularity in high school had given them a false sense of importance. They thought their beauty, social status, and connections would take them far. But now, as college applications rolled in, reality hit them hard. They had average grades, no real skills, and no future plans. One day, during lunch, Madison scrolled through her phone and froze. Emily was on the cover of a business magazine. The headline read, "Teen CEO Emily Carter. How this high schooler built a tech empire." Chloe and Jessica leaned over. "Wait, is that nerd Emily?" Madison's face turned red. The girl they had bullied for years was now a national success story. That same week, their teacher, Mr. Anderson, made an announcement in class. "Class, we're honored to have one of our very own students featured in Forbes' Top 30 Under 30. Let's give a round of applause for Emily Carter." The entire class erupted into cheers, except for Madison and her group, who sat in stunned silence. Emily, sitting in the back, just smiled. She had won without ever stooping to their level. But the real twist was yet to come, because soon, Madison, Chloe, and Jessica would come knocking on her door. This time, not as bullies, but as job applicants. Graduation day arrived. For most students, it was an exciting new beginning. But for Madison, Chloe, and Jessica, it was terrifying. Without strong grades or real skills, they struggled to get into good colleges. The reality of the real world hit them harder than they had ever expected. Meanwhile, Emily's life had skyrocketed. Brain Boost had grown into a multi-million-dollar company. With thousands of students using the platform, schools across the country were adopting it. Investors lined up to be a part of it, and major tech companies wanted to partner with her. She had just set up her official company headquarters in a sleek, modern office in downtown Seattle. One afternoon, as she reviewed resumes for new hires, her assistant walked in. "Emily, we have 3 applicants for entry-level marketing positions." Emily glanced at the names and nearly laughed. Madison Blake, Chloe Harper, Jessica Evans. Her old bullies, the same girls who had tormented her in high school, were now applying to work for her. She leaned back in her chair, thinking. She could reject them instantly. She could humiliate them. She could make them feel the way she once did. But then she remembered something her mentor, Mr. Davis, had told her. True power isn't about revenge. It's about rising above. She made a decision. "Schedule the interviews," she said, smiling. It was time to see just how much things had changed. A week later, Madison, Chloe, and Jessica walked into the sleek Brain Boost headquarters. They were dressed in business attire, trying to appear confident. But inside, they were nervous. They had no idea who the hiring manager was, until they stepped into the conference room and saw her. Emily Carter. Sitting at the head of the table, dressed in a sharp blazer, Emily looked every bit the powerful CEO she had become. Madison's fake confidence crumbled. Chloe and Jessica exchanged uncomfortable glances. They hadn't seen Emily since high school, and now, she was the one in charge. Emily smiled politely. "Welcome, ladies. I see you're interested in joining my company." Madison cleared her throat. Yes, we're really excited about this opportunity." Emily skimmed through their resumes. They were weak. No tech skills. No leadership experience. Nothing truly impressive. But Emily wasn't here to humiliate them. She was here to teach them a lesson. "I have a few questions," Emily said, leaning forward. "Tell me about a time you worked through adversity or helped someone in need." The irony wasn't lost on them. The room was silent. Jessica finally stammered. We worked on a school project once." Emily raised an eyebrow. "A group project? Did you do all the work? Or did you let someone else carry the weight?" Madison's face turned red. Chloe looked down. They had nothing to say. Emily closed the resumes and looked them in the eyes. "You see, I built this company on resilience, hard work, and kindness. The very things you once made fun of." Madison swallowed hard. "So, Does that mean we're not hired? Emily thought for a moment. Then she said something they never expected. I believe in second chances, she said. I'm offering you entry-level internships. The pay is low, the work is hard, and you'll start from the bottom. Madison's jaw dropped. You're giving us a job? Emily smiled. I'm giving you a chance to prove that you've changed. The same way life gave me a chance to rise above what you did to me. The three girls sat there, stunned. For the first time, they weren't laughing. They were grateful. Madison, Chloe, and Jessica hesitated for a moment, processing what had just happened. The girl they had bullied for years was now their boss. Emily could see the mix of emotions on their faces: shame, regret, maybe even a little respect. Madison finally cleared her throat. We'll take the internships. Emily nodded. Good. You start on Monday. The three girls left the office, walking in stunned silence. They had once ruled high school, but now they were at the bottom of the ladder in Emily's world. But Emily didn't offer them jobs out of pity or revenge. She did it because she had learned something powerful. True success isn't about getting back at people. It's about proving to yourself that you were always meant for greatness. Over the next few months, Madison, Chloe, and Jessica worked harder than they ever had before. They started from the lowest positions, fetching coffee, answering emails, taking notes in meetings. They saw firsthand what it took to run a company, to build something from the ground up, to be truly successful. And slowly, something changed in them. One day, Madison approached Emily, a mix of nervousness and sincerity in her eyes. I wanted to say I'm sorry for everything. We were awful to you, and you didn't deserve it. Emily simply smiled. I know, but I also know that people can change. And that was the real victory. Not the money, not the success, not even the moment of poetic justice. The real victory was proving that she was always more than what they thought she was. As she stood in her office, overlooking the city skyline, Emily Carter knew one thing for sure: she had won.